Welcome to Turn on Your Light. In today's video, we will uncover the deep connection between sacred geometry and the flow of money in our lives. Get ready for a journey that transcends spirituality, linking ancient concepts with financial prosperity. So, you've probably heard the term sacred geometry thrown around in some spiritual circles, or maybe even seen it pop up on Instagram, right? But what exactly is it? And why do so many different cultures seem to think it's a big deal? Let's dive in and break it down. First off, let's start with the basics. Sacred geometry is basically the idea that certain shapes and patterns are, well, sacred. These aren't just any random doodles. They're like the building blocks of the universe. Sounds pretty deep, huh? But stick with me. From ancient times to now, people across the world have noticed that these specific patterns show up everywhere, in nature, in architecture, and even in our own bodies. It's like the universe has its own design language, and sacred geometry is the dictionary. Now, why does this matter? Well, think about it. For centuries, humans have been looking up at the stars, down at the earth, and inside themselves trying to figure out the big questions. Who are we? Why are we here? What's the meaning of all this? And guess what? They found clues in these geometric patterns. They saw that certain shapes, like circles, spirals, and triangles, weren't just pretty to look at. They actually meant something. They represented harmony, balance, and the connection between all living things. Let's take a quick world tour. The ancient Egyptians, for example, weren't just building those massive pyramids for fun. They were using sacred geometry, aligning those pyramids with the stars, and believing that these shapes could help connect them to the divine. Across the world in India, you've got the mandalas, beautiful, intricate designs that represent the universe itself. And if you've ever seen a snowflake up close, you've witnessed sacred geometry in action. Those tiny ice crystals are like little frozen works of art, each one perfectly symmetrical, each one a tiny miracle. But it's not just ancient history. Fast forward to today, and these patterns are still a big deal. Architects use sacred geometry to design buildings that feel harmonious and balanced. Artists use it to create pieces that resonate on a deep, almost subconscious level. And spiritually? Well, lots of folks use these patterns in meditation, believing that visualizing or focusing on them can bring peace, clarity, and a deeper connection to the universe. So, what's the takeaway? Sacred geometry is kind of like a secret code, one that's been with humanity since the beginning. It's a reminder that everything is connected, that there's order in the chaos, and that we're all part of something much bigger. Whether you're looking at the spirals in a seashell or the stars in the sky, you're seeing the same patterns that have fascinated and inspired people for thousands of years. Pretty cool, right? Let's talk about something pretty fascinating. How these patterns we see everywhere, from the spirals in a sunflower to the shape of a galaxy, aren't just random. They're actually like little fingerprints of something bigger, something divine if you will, showing up in the physical world. Yeah, I know, sounds kinda out there, but stick with me. Imagine for a second that the universe is this massive artist, right? And just like any artist, it has a signature style, a way it expresses itself. Well, those patterns you see in nature, that's the universe's way of signing its name, leaving its mark. It's like a cosmic, I was here moment, except it's happening everywhere and all the time. Now, why does this matter to us, living our busy lives? Because these patterns, these shapes and forms, aren't just pretty to look at. They're actually a reflection of the divine consciousness making itself known in the physical world. Think of it like this. If the universe is the mind of some greater intelligence, these patterns are its thoughts made visible. Pretty wild, right? Let's break it down. Take something like the spiral. You see it in the way galaxies spin, the way a fern unfurls, even in the shape of a seashell. This spiral is known as the golden spiral, and it follows a specific ratio that pops up everywhere. It's like the universe's favorite design trick. But why does it show up so much? Because it's the most efficient way for things to grow and expand. It's almost like the universe is whispering to us, hey, this is how I create. And here's where it gets really cool. This isn't just about plants and stars. This is about us, too. We're part of this pattern. Our bodies, our DNA, the way we think and grow, it's all connected to this larger, divine blueprint. These patterns are like a bridge, connecting the invisible, the spiritual, the divine, to the visible, the physical world. They're proof that something bigger is at play, something that's way beyond our everyday worries and stresses. So, what does this mean for you right now? Well, next time you're feeling stuck, lost, or just overwhelmed by the chaos of life, remember this. You're part of a pattern that's been in motion for billions of years. The same forces that shape the stars are at work within you. These patterns are a reminder that there's a flow, a rhythm to life. And when we tap into that, when we align ourselves with these natural designs, things just start to click. Maybe it's about finding that spiral in your own life. Whether it's the way your career is unfolding, the way your relationships grow, or even how your thoughts expand. By recognizing and embracing these patterns, we can start to see our lives not as a series of random events, but as a part of a bigger, divine design. And that, my friend, is pretty empowering. So, the next time you see a perfect pattern in nature, don't just walk by. Take a moment to appreciate it, to see it for what it is. A little glimpse into the mind of the universe, a sign that divine consciousness is not just out there, but right here, woven into the very fabric of our world and of you. I know, sounds kind of fancy, right? But trust me, this stuff is pretty cool and way more connected to your everyday life than you might think. So, what is sacred geometry? Imagine this. Everything around you, your coffee cup, the trees outside, even the way your cat curls up into a ball, follows certain patterns. These aren't just any patterns. They're like the blueprints of the universe. Sacred geometry is basically the science that studies these geometric patterns, the ones that make up everything. We're talking the whole shebang: nature, art, architecture, even the way the universe itself is structured. Let's get into it. Think about a snowflake. Have you ever seen one up close? Every single one is unique, but they all have that beautiful, intricate, six-sided symmetry. That's sacred geometry at work. It's like nature's way of saying, I've got a system, and it's pretty darn amazing. And it's not just snowflakes. You see this in the petals of a flower, the spiral of a seashell, and even the way galaxies spin in the cosmos. These patterns are everywhere. But here's where it gets really interesting. These shapes aren't just random or decorative. They're the building blocks of creation. Sacred geometry is like the universe's design manual, the instruction booklet for how everything fits together. When you start looking at the world through this lens, you realize that there's a deep, almost mystical order to everything around you. Now, why does this matter to you? Well, understanding sacred geometry can actually change the way you see the world and yourself. When you realize that everything is connected by these patterns, it's kind of like discovering the cheat codes to life. It's a reminder that there's a natural flow and order to things, even when life feels chaotic. Take the concept of the flower of life, for example. This symbol is made up of multiple overlapping circles, and it's said to contain the blueprint of the universe. It represents how all things are interconnected. When you think about it, everything in your life, your relationships, your goals, your experiences, is like one of those circles, all overlapping and interconnected. By tapping into this idea, you can start to see how everything you do is part of a larger pattern. And here's a cool thought. If these geometric patterns are the foundation of all creation, then that means you're part of this divine design too. Your thoughts, your actions, your dreams, they're all woven into this cosmic tapestry. Recognizing that can give you a new perspective on how you approach life. Maybe it's about seeing the beauty in everyday things, or maybe it's about finding a sense of peace and knowing that you're part of something bigger. So, next time you're out and about, take a moment to notice the patterns around you. Look at the symmetry in a leaf, the spirals in a pine cone, or the hexagons in a honeycomb. These aren't just cool designs. They're clues to the underlying order of the universe. And once you start seeing them, you'll never look at the world the same way again. Sacred geometry might sound all woo-woo, but it's really just about recognizing the incredible, intricate designs that make up our world. And when you do, it's like you've unlocked a new level of understanding. One where everything is connected, everything has purpose, and you're a vital part of the whole. All right, let's talk about me. Something you all think about, worry about, and chase after: money. But here's the twist. What if I told you that money isn't just paper, coins, or numbers in your bank account? At its core, money is actually a form of energy. Yep, energy. And just like any other kind of energy, it follows certain universal laws and patterns. Let's break this down. Think about it. Energy is all around us, right? It's in the sunlight that warms your face, the food that fuels your body, and even in the way you feel after a great conversation. Money is no different. It's just another form of energy that flows in and out of our lives. The trick is understanding how to get that flow working in your favor. You know how when you're really pumped up and positive, good things seem to happen more easily? That's because your energy is high and you're attracting more of that good stuff. The same goes for money. When you have a healthy, positive attitude toward money, seeing it as something that flows to you naturally, you start to attract more of it. But it's not just about thinking good thoughts and hoping for the best. Just like other forms of energy, money follows certain laws. One big one is the law of attraction. You've probably heard of it. This law basically says that like attracts like. If you're constantly stressing about money, worrying that you don't have enough, guess what? You're putting out an energy of lack, and that's what you're going to attract more of. On the flip side, if you approach money with gratitude and abundance, believing there's always more where that came from, you're more likely to see opportunities and ways to grow your wealth. Understanding money as energy, you can start to see it not as a source of stress, but as a tool you can work with. It's all about shifting your mindset, recognizing the patterns, and tapping into the flow. Once you do, you'll find that money starts to feel a lot less like a mystery and a lot more like something you can master. Imagine your personal energy field like a magnet. If your energy is all over the place, filled with stress, worry, or fear, it's like you're trying to attract prosperity with a weak magnet. But when you align your energy with these sacred patterns, it's like you've supercharged that magnet. You're now pulling in prosperity with way more power. And it's not just about bringing money in, it's about creating a steady flow. Sacred geometry helps your energy stay in that sweet spot where you're open to receiving abundance, but also where you're using that energy wisely, letting it circulate, and keeping the flow going. Think of it like a river. If the water's blocked, it can't flow, right? Sacred geometry helps keep that river of energy moving smoothly, so prosperity can come into your life and keep on coming. All right, we've talked about sacred geometry and how it can help you align with the flow of abundance. But here's the thing. If you really want to see a change, just sprinkling a few geometric patterns around your space isn't going to cut it. You've got to take it a step further. You've got to model your behavior and emotions to match those high vibe patterns. Think about it like this. If you want to learn a new skill, like playing the guitar, you don't just buy a guitar and stare at it, right? You find someone who's great at it, watch what they do, and then practice until you get it right. The same principle applies when you're trying to shift your emotional and behavioral patterns, especially around money. You've got to model the right kind of mindset and actions that align with the patterns of sacred geometry and the flow of abundance. So we've covered a lot of ground today. How sacred geometry can help shift your mindset and bring more abundance into your life by modeling new behaviors and emotions. But if you're wondering how exactly to model these patterns and make them a natural part of your daily life, don't worry. That's what we're diving into in the next video. So, if you're ready to take things to the next level and learn how to really embody these patterns, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss out. Trust me, you're going to want to see this. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I'll catch you in the next video. See you soon.